Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the afternoon session of the first in a series of webinars hosted by Multimodal Connect in conjunction with eDelivery Expo. This afternoon's session is Accelerating E-commerce, Fulfillment, Capacity, Compliance and Profitability. On the panel, we have three speakers this afternoon. Stuart Ager is Director of Operations for Century Logistics. Stuart has been with Century for almost 3 years now. Prior to that, he was with DHL Supply Chain for 10 years, and prior to that, again, with the Seva Group. It's fair to say that Stuart has had a career in contract logistics, and he now works for a private company founded by Stephen Basey Fisher. It's a business that prides itself on a service, which we will explore this afternoon. And extends on from a great deal of the normal transactional activities that most 3PLs provide for their customers. In addition, obviously I'm here moderating this afternoon. I'm also presenting on profitability, how to boost capacity, looking at the built environment and what opportunities lie for those seeking to expand their offering in e-commerce. My background is in the port industry, almost 30 years with the Hutchison Group here in the UK before starting my own supply chain consultancy. And I work with a wide range of clients in several different disciplines, managing their expectations for strategic growth and also providing solutions architecture. That's more about the activities that take place inside warehouses than it is about the bricks and mortar of the warehouse themselves. We also have with us Miles Vartan. Miles, whom I know from many years gone by, has a background in transport logistics. He started in transport and moved into commodities with forest products industry. He was responsible for the downstream distribution of forest products here in the UK for, in those days, the world's largest manufacturer in the sector for many years before joining the brewery industry, working for Green King for a number of years, and now has been running his own supply chain consultancy for the last 11 years. The specialization for Miles Vartan Consultancy is accreditations, principally AEO, and also economic, not just economic operator, but ISO accreditations and certification and other transport and logistics related applications. Those gentlemen will be joining us shortly, and we will start with Stuart Ager, as I said, from Century Logistics. Welcome to Stuart.
Thank you, Murray. Good afternoon, everybody. As Murray said, Century Logistics, we're based in East Anglia. We've got seven sites, totaling approximately 600,000 square foot. We've got a very diverse customer base. As of today, we've got 53 customers with 2 smaller opportunities coming on board just in the last week or so. We're very much focused towards service. Our company strapline is about partnerships, but rather than a traditional sort of 3PL model, we value ourselves on value-added services, reverse logistics, co-packing, rework, and working closely with our customers in terms of online platforms. We've got 2 customer service centres here where we're dealing with pre and post queries and working on behalf of the customer. As far as the consumer is concerned, when they make a call or they email, that they're dealing with the customer direct, and we've got across our centres about eight people working closely, with retailers but also end consumers. So we're very much a diverse business, and it's because of that diversity that we've seen every angle since lockdown that we think could be thrown at us. Clearly, a lot of our customers have gone through, major changes in terms of their volumes and the way in which they work, and that's what I'm going to sort of talk through here today. In terms of trying to paint a picture of before, I think it's fair to say a lot of our customers were very much B2B and were on that journey to B2C. They had plans, and some customers were further ahead than that. It was certainly important, but it certainly wasn't as important as the retail. But it's equally fair to say that over the last 12 to 18 months, with the reduction in retail, that more and more have started to have conversations with us around setting e-commerce platforms up and entering conversations around parcel carriers, because that's one of the major sort of changes that's happened in the last 3 or 4 months. Is there's much more emphasis in terms of which couriers we can offer, that we've got relationships with, and also which ones we can integrate with, and around the performance. Cost
for those,
is
sorry, Stuart, for those that don't know your business quite so well, you're not a transport provider in the true sense.
correct.
You focus very much on the warehousing element, although
We
I
do,
understand
yeah.
you provide transport if that's requested.
Exactly that. Yeah, we've got some vehicles, 2 vehicles in which we do sort of local radial deliveries. But as Murray said, we're very much focused in terms on the logistics side and the value added services side, and we partner ourselves with key partners to do the final deliveries and work with approximately about 10 different couriers stroke transport companies. So no, you're right in saying that, Murray. Cost has always been important, and it's still important for all of our customers now, and for all of us on this webinar today, that we'll all be having conversations around cost and the impact to our businesses, also to our customers. It's fair to say that now it's more about service. Customers are happy to pay a little bit more for a quicker delivery, a Saturday delivery, an evening delivery. And making sure the sort of end experience for the customer is improved. And the other challenge that we have, located where we are, is the location we are, and the cut-off times for our couriers. So these are all things that we've had to sort of work on over the past few months. And we actually continue to try and fine-tune a lot of these, but it's fair to say that we've made some major changes to our business, the way in which our warehouse operations run. And again, that's what I'm going to sort of talk about through here today.
Okay, thank you, Stuart. I mean, we talk a lot about those words, the new normal, and we'll come on to that a bit later on. But we weren't actually at the old normal, were we, before we hit the 23rd of March? Because a lot of supply chain operators, warehouse keepers, fulfilment houses had already had their normal stock impacted by Brexit stock. And I know the word Brexit's not something that we hear used very much these days. It seems to have taken a bit of a back step. I'm sure it's going to come back and catch us. But how were you dealing, and what sort of impact had you had from Brexit stock prior to the COVID event?
So the warehouse I'm at today, the Saxon warehouse, we was 98% full in here in January. Anyone that operates a warehouse will appreciate that's too high, and it was very difficult, to operate at times. So we were very full of stock, and that was, to a lesser extent, that was the same across all our operations. But yeah, all our customers have built stock up, and they're building ahead for the new season. So we've certainly got more stock, and yeah, but Brexit is certainly going to play a part in the future, and I think that's one of the challenges we've got over the next few months, because yeah, every customer review that I'm having now is back on the radar, isn't going to go away, and it'll be interesting to see how they try to combat whether they continue to bring more stocks in, because I don't know, that's supply chain now, and getting product into the warehouse is actually some of one of our customers' bigger challenges, because there's only so many bikes you can make, as an example, and until they can get more stock and increase their stock, then the reality is the product isn't here to sell.
I mean, we've been used to lean supply chains, and obviously with the impact of COVID-19 hitting the Asia Pacific region 6 to 8 weeks ahead of us, there was always going to be a delay in supply, a cut-off in supply, so that whatever was being sold out of the warehouses would be more difficult to replenish, and we would have to work around that. What's your experience been of stuttering supply on the inbound leg?
Yeah, it's impacting us now. So initially, it meant with that sort of capacity fill, our customers were in a great position to sell stock. They've done that very successfully, and the impact now is that we've got warehouse space to offer because they customers cannot get the product into the country quick enough. Some of we're supplying the NHS with disposable gloves. They can only get made as quick as the suppliers can bring into them, and one of our customers is down about 30% in from a stock holding perspective. It's slowly coming back. Factories have all been open now for a number of months, but certainly, a bit like us all, we're operating in a different sort of world. We clearly haven't adhered to all the COVID safe procedures, and there'll be everybody that's doing that, and it is starting to have an impact now. We've got space, but from conversations with our 6 or 7 of our major customers, those stock levels will now start to come back up. Factories are producing. New stock is on the water, and it's slowly getting back up to where they want it to be. But it's fair to say that it's going to take another sort of 2 months before the usual stock is replenished to the usual levels.
Yeah. And what closer to home? How have things been down there on the warehouse floor in terms of social distancing, operational distances, and so forth? How have you managed with the changes necessary to be able to accommodate your workforce?
We've clearly listened to all the advice. We've consulted with our teams here. We've had to be quite creative in how we help them downstairs. So all the usual barriers, the additional cleaning, but as a business, we've also early doors helped them out by laying on buses to work to ensure that we could all, or our agency staff and our own staff, could socially distance. So we've had to be, those are quite unusual challenges that I don't think any of us expected to have to plan for. But in a warehouse like this is here, it's achievable. But the key thing is that it's been working together with our staff, because they've been fantastic throughout this period, and not only our own staff, but with the volumes that we've seen, that we've had to rely on our agency staff. And on any shift, in this warehouse alone here, we've had up to 40 agency staff, regular agency staff from other sites supporting us with our growth here. So it's only been done in conjunction with their fantastic attitude. But we're through the high peaks. We're certainly not seeing anything return back to the volumes that we had in January and February. But it's been working closely with our staff and making sure they're at the forefront of our decisions, and making sure they're safe, because quite frankly, without them, then we can't support our customers, and that's been recognised by our customers, and it's been great to pass on all the thanks down to the guys on the shop floor.
Excellent. We are taking questions online, so please come forward with your questions. I have one that's been sent through to me for Stuart. It's an anonymous question, but how does your value-added service provision compete with racking storage space? Obviously, the offset between the amount of space you have set aside for value-added, and how does it put pressure on your operations?
Well, we pride ourselves on doing a lot of value-added services, so we have specific areas already designed for this. It's meant that we've had to adjust. There's no two ways about it. We've currently out there we're taking up more space for our rework, our co-packing areas. We've just had to do that. We've had to come up with different ways of working in the warehouse. The one thing we're not sure of at this moment in time is rack spaces, because our customers have still got the stock to come into us to fill us back up again. So it's a compromise. We've had to sort of re-engineer the way we work on our warehouse floor, segregation, health and safety, social distancing, etc. But we're quite lucky here. We've always had a good amount of floor space, but we just had to be a bit more creative in terms of the way we manage it, and adjust, because for us to achieve the numbers that our customers have increased by, it couldn't be done by leaving it as it was, and we've adjusted it accordingly to meet the volumes. And ultimately we've had to put on additional shifts, because trying to do everything on a single shift was never going to work. We've always had double shifts here. and at times we've had to put a third shift on weekends, and we've had to sort of cut things up a little bit differently to stay on the front foot. So it hasn't been so much of it's been a challenge, but it's been achievable. But it's, again, it's working closely with the teams outside and getting their input and buy-in as well, because having their support in making any changes has been critical to us.
That's good. That's the mark of a good relationship between the business and its workforce. Just really between the lines a little on that question. It may well be that the question requires us to think perhaps between the amount of space that you would or effort that you would put into conventional throughput storage activities and then sectioning off or finding space in your operations for value-added services. That equation that says, that how do you look at that in terms of its value to the business? And I suppose for those that don't know your operation, particularly Saxon, most of your value-added activity takes place on multi-level office. It's a high bay facility, and you're not actually trading space. You're making better use of the whole cube of the building, not trading space that could otherwise be used for storage and racking for value-added services, are you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we've got repair centres here, so it's just been a case of utilising that repair centre space a bit differently and working hours and stuff. But it's the value-added services is a key part of our business, and it's an area of our business that's grown tremendously in the 2.5 years that I've been at Century. But it's something we pride ourselves on. And I think it's in our other warehouses that we took on a warehouse in September, 70,000 square foot. Again, that had a rework room, because even though it wasn't used on day one, we've got a new operation that's starting up there where we're picking and packing a new range of products for a new customer next week. So we certainly taking on new sites. You have to have half an eye, more than half an eye on the value-added service aspect, and making sure that it's got the ability for us to grow into and service our customers. So you're right, Murray. You certainly have to. We're having to take more of a closer look at that. And in terms of our new business inquiries, there's lots of conventional inquiries in terms of pallets, storage, but is equally probably 60-70% of our inquiries at this moment in time are e-commerce related, which we have to think very carefully about the type of operation we put it into, the build and the layout, and how we engineer the solution to make sure we're efficient for ourselves and to meet our customers' needs. So it's definitely providing us with, we have to put additional thought to it now as we go forward.
Yeah, I mean, as a business, you don't provide some of the forwarding services. You don't provide customs clearance and so forth. You are quite niche in the services you provide as a warehouse company. But also, you do to handle quite a bit of reverse logistics, don't you? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we've got trained engineers. We've got 9 trained engineers out there who, for the customers that require that service, we are receiving. We are organising collections. We are bringing product back into our repair centres, and we are fixing those products. We got thousands of different SKUs out there in terms of spare parts, and whether it be a pushchair, a stroller, a car seat, a vacuum cleaner, and we've got the ability here to get that product collected. We get the notification for today's example. The goods will be collected tomorrow, back in our warehouse Friday, and we'll be out with a customer within 48 hours. So that's definitely a part of the business that's growing. When I was in the warehouse earlier on, there was 8 pallets of returns come back today alone, and I think before lockdown, our average was a couple of pallets a day, but you can visibly see the difference now that's having on us as a warehouse, and but it's an area that is key for our customers, and we're supporting them through this period.
That's good. So it's got quite a mixed level of services that you're adding on to conventional warehousing and distribution for your customers. That's good to hear. Okay, well, we will be taking questions and answers at the end of the sessions, but for now we will move on to the second set of presentations, which